Hey there, Stampers. This is Sherry Roth from StampTreasures.com. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sherwood Park, Alberta, Canada, and I am here to share with you a 6x6 mini album. If you've got tons of 6x6 paper pads or lots and lots of DSP patterned paper, this is a great project to use up some of that. I actually did this one on my Facebook Live this morning and uploaded the video to YouTube, but we were having some connection problems and the video is really poor quality, so I thought I'd refilm it. This video will actually only show you how to do the bare bones of the album, so how to assemble the album. If you want to see how I decorated this, I'll post the link in the description below so that you can watch it. But I'll do a quick flip through at the end. But first we're going to start with just creating the album base. Both of these are created the same way, they're just decorated slightly differently. Okay, so what you are going to need is 6 sheets of 6x6 patterned paper. And this album, you actually don't even need to cut anything. It's so simple to create. Okay, and I can't take credit for this. I saw this on YouTube a few weeks ago and then created this one because it was sitting, I just had the ideas floating around in my head and I wanted to create something, so I created this one. And then did this one, like I said, live on Facebook today. Okay, so you'll need 6 pieces of patterned paper, and I am using the Stampin' Up! Tropical Escape paper pack, which is retiring, unfortunately, at the end of this month. And it's such a gorgeous paper. So we will take the paper, and for each of the 6 pieces, you're gonna do the same thing. So you're gonna take it, and if it's directional, so this paper isn't necessarily directional, although I do like these leaves so that they're this way rather than this way. So I'm going to do it so that this is the top and this is the bottom. And we are going to score it in 2 places. So we're going to score it at 4.5 inches and 4 3/4. Okay, and you're going to do that for all 6 of your sheets. So I've gone ahead and done that. Once you've done that, you're going to fold along both those score lines and use your bone folder to make it nice and crisp. Okay, so it'll look like that. So this is the spine of the mini album, and then this is what's going to get attached. Okay, so I'm gonna pull in some of the ones that I've already done here. Okay, so this is going to be my cover, and this, it's going to look like this. And this is gonna be the back cover. So front cover and back cover. And I want something, you don't necessarily need something, but I want something in between just to separate those a little bit. So I cut this from the Everything is Rosy. This is a product medley that we have available until the end of the month or until it sells out. And this gorgeous framelit, I tell you, this framelit set is worth it just for this border. So I used this border to cut this out, and I will post a link to the information on that medley in the description box below as well. Okay, so I'm going to use some adhesive, and you don't have to use fast fuse, whatever adhesive you prefer. I am a fast fuse lover, so that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to line it up right with the edge of my strip and stick it down. Okay, so now I've got that, and then this is gonna go in here. So what I wanna do is I'm going to add adhesive from, you see that, this is how it is. So I'm going to add adhesive from that first score line all the way over and all the way around, okay? So for this part, you probably do wanna add or use a stronger adhesive, so you could use tear and tape, or if you still have some sticky strip from when we carried sticky strip, you could use that. Just you want something that's a little bit more durable because this is going to be, it's going to be opened and closed many, many times. All right, so then I'm just gonna fold that, make sure that those the score lines are really crisp. And I like to, how am I gonna do this so you guys can see here? Okay, so I like to line it up with this score line actually this way. Okay, so this back score line, I'm going to try to line up this fold right with that score line and set it down. The thing with this type of adhesive is it's not super forgiving, so you want to get it down right the first time. And that's not super straight. That's not very even, but we can fix that. Okay, so I've got that on there, and then I'm going to fold this over so that it sticks down. Okay, and then I'm going to refold these score lines just to make them nice and crisp. And fold along here. Make sure that's nice and crisp. Like that. Okay, so you can see that I didn't get it super straight. So I'm gonna pull in my paper cutter and just fix that right now. So I'm going to use, I prefer to use this paper cutter when I'm just taking off a sliver. This isn't one that we carry anymore, but this is a guillotine paper cutter, and it works like a charm for just taking slivers off. So I'm just lining the edge of the shorter piece of DSP with the blade, and then just slicing off that sliver, and now I've got a nice even piece. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to do that for all 6 pieces of DSP. So you're going to pair together 2 pieces and repeat that. You'll see that you have this flap. This flap can be stuck down flat if you want it. You can use it as an additional page and add, I have a piece cut here. You can add a piece of cardstock in, you can add another piece of DSP. So this piece would measure 4.5 inches by 6 inches, and you'd line it up right with that score line just like that in order for it to fit. Or the other thing that you can do is you can add just adhesive here and create a pocket that you can tuck something in. So that's what we're gonna do for this one. So I'm just gonna put a little bit fast fuse there. So now I have a little pocket that I can tuck. I can tuck some journaling cards in there, I can tuck some photos in there, whatever it is that I decide to tuck in there, okay? So our front cover is done, and then I have another one that is done. That's going to get attached into here. And then I have another one, and let me show you how I made a mistake and how you can fix it. Okay, so for this one, what I did was I was attaching these 2, so they were the same, just 2 layers, except what I did was I attached them both so that the flaps were on the same side. So if that happens, you can just, like I said, add cardstock. I can then flatten this and just attach that to that, or I can create an additional page, or I can create another pocket. I mean, the options are limitless, okay? So what we're going to do is I will take care, actually that might be easier to take care of now. Do I wanna just put that down? Because I wanna do a pocket. Okay, I think what I'm gonna do, no 2 of my albums are the same, so I'm just trying to decide what I wanna do. Okay, I wanna create a pocket on the cover. So I'm going to use just a little bit of Tombow. Make sure this is going the right way. Yeah, it goes this way. And I'm going to add a narrow bead of adhesive along the 2 sides and the bottom. This is going to create a pocket in my front cover. And I'm going to line it up with that first score line. And if anything hangs over the edge on the left, I can just trim that off. Okay, so we'll let that set for a minute. And then for this one, I'm just going to stick adhesive on here and stick it down. I don't need to create another pocket. I'm actually quite happy with that lighter green attached to the shaded spruce. Okay. So now, again, I'm just going to make sure that these are all folded nice and crisp, because that will make it easier to assemble my album. Okay, and this one's good. And I'll decide what to do with that when I assemble my album here. Okay, so now to assemble the album, you make sure that you have your cover first. And what I found helpful was to use a bit of tear and tape. Now you don't have to, you can just have these sit all inside of each other, just like this. So these can all sit inside of each other. Don't worry about that, we'll fix that afterwards. And just poke holes and feed your ribbon through. So you can do that and your album is perfectly good. But I wanted it to be a bit more stable than that. So I'm just gonna use a strip of tear and tape down the center of, like in between those two score lines. I'll trim this off. Okay, and then I'll use my bone folder to burnish it, just to make sure that that adhesive transfers on there and it sticks really well. And then peel it up. And then this is probably the trickiest part of the whole thing, is getting these lined up. So you're going to line it up right in between those score lines. So if you create a little, almost like a little pocket. And again, with the tear and tape, it's not very forgiving. Okay, that's good. And like I said, you'll have little bits that are a little bit longer than the rest, and that's okay, we can trim those up afterwards. So you just wanna make sure that that adhesive is holding things together. And then again, you're gonna go back and you're gonna fold. Every time you attach layers, you're going to just go back and just apply a little bit of pressure and refold along those score lines. Okay. So now we've got that. So you can see the binding on there. Okay. So now we're gonna do our last layer. So we're gonna repeat that process. We're gonna open it up, take our tear and tape, put it down the center. Give it a trim, and then insert our last book. Insert this in between here. Just like that. Open it up, apply a little bit of pressure, and then fold our book over. Okay, and so now this is where we can pull in that guillotine paper cutter again and trim off any of these excess pieces. And it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna end up with those excess pieces, because every time you put another layer on, it's just slightly inward, right? So, and we've started with the same size. So I'm just gonna line this up with the cover. Oh, there's a lot of layers to cut through. Okay. Let's see here. All right, and that is good. So then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open it up, and here I've got a pocket. So what I wanna do in my pocket, you can tuck photos in there, but I've got a couple tags that I've created, and these tags are gonna go inside here. So I can add journaling or photos to those tags. The largest tag, the white one, measures 3 inches by 5 inches. This Blushing Bride measures 2.5 by 4.5. And then I've got a little piece of shaded spruce that measures 2 inches by 3.5. To create the tag, I just freehand cut and then flip it over. Take that little piece that I just cut off, flip it over, and I'm using that as a guide, and that way I get an even cut mark on both sides. And then I'm going to punch. Let's find some scraps here. Let's do a white and green. So I'm just going to take my 1/2 inch circle punch out a circle, add a little bit of adhesive on it, add that to the center of my tag, and then I'm going to use a 1 1/8 inch handheld punch and center it. Well, not very center, but that's okay. Get my ribbon in here and you won't be able to tell. And I've got some metallic ribbon. This is in, actually I think it's in Petal Pink, not Blushing Bride, but that's okay, it's close enough. Just gonna cut a little bit off, feed it through the hole. This ribbon pack comes with this ribbon, and it also comes with this shaded spruce one. It also is retiring, but I believe it's still available in stock for now. I'm gonna use some white baker's twine and tie a bow here. Oh, I hate tying bows on camera. It's amazing how finicky it can be. Even just knowing that there's a camera recording you. Okay, there we go. Trim the ends here. And I can fuss with that later, make it look pretty, but that's gonna get tucked in there. So then we'll just do a quick flip through. So we've got lots of pages. So this one still needs something. So I could do this on here, or I could do it like that. I think I'm gonna use a piece of white though. I will add it in afterwards. So remember, if you're doing that, then that piece needs to be 4.5 inches by 6 inches. And then we've got a pocket back here. Okay, so that's how you put the album together. Now let me show you the other ones that I forgot to show you the spine. Okay, so because we used adhesive on here, you could just leave it like this, but you'll notice that here I've got some ribbon that I've added. So to do that, I am pulling in my crocodile and I'm using the smallest punch. So there's 2 different size punches on the side. This one measures, I think it's about 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to slide it in and line it up so it's in the center of the spine and push it in as far as it will go, and I'll punch a hole. And then I'll do the same on this side. Feed it all the way in, line it up in the center, and punch a hole. And then I'll just take some white ribbon, feed it through the hole, and I probably should have fed it through the other hole first. Let's do it this way. I like to keep my ribbon on the spool instead of cutting a length and then finding out that it's too short or too long and I've wasted some. So I always try to tie it while it's still on the spool. All right. So, and then I'm just gonna tie a bow. So I plan on using one of these as a gratitude journal. So I can write down what I'm grateful for. I can add photos, so lots of ideas. It could be a baby album. You could make it a travel album. There's so many different things that you could do with it. And it would make a great gift idea as well. Okay. All right. So there we go. The album is actually, it's all assembled now. So let me show you what I've done here. So I have taken a gratitude kind of saying, so simply thankful for all the things, all the good things. Added that on there. I used the coordinating stamp set, which I think is called Tropical Chic. I stamped the flower in Blushing Bride, and then added a bit of Wink Stella to add some sparkle. So here, I didn't do the pocket in the front cover, but I added a place for a photo, added a couple little stamped leaves and some linen thread, and then just some basic pages. So my pocket is in the inside or towards the middle. And then here I just added some extra stamped images that I had. And then in the back pocket, I did some extra cards. So these cards I could turn around and add them to any of the pages with a little photo or with journaling, or I can just leave them tucked in here with some little messages on it or little bits of gratitude. So there was that one, and then there was this one that I did with the Everything is Rosy suite or product medley. So again, I did the same thing on here. I love this paper. Here, this was just using a scrap that I had sitting on my desk, so I did a diagonal, or pocket on the diagonal. And then here, a place for a photo. Here I could add a photo or some journaling. And then this one has a little 3x3 envelope with a little card tucked inside. So again, I can add some notes of gratitude on there. For this one, on this flap, I cut this so that it was a little bit smaller, just so that you could see that pink border around the edge. Here, again, these were scraps that were on my desk, so I added them on there so I could do a bit of journaling on there. And then another photo mat at the back. All right. So I hope this video was a little bit better than the last one. I apologize, the last one was not very good. But I will post a link if you want to see how this one was completed from start to finish. Then you can watch the video even fast through the bits that were terrible. But at least now you've got a half-decent video that will show you how to assemble the album. All right. If there's any products that you'd like to purchase and you're in Canada, feel free to visit my website. And if you are not already a subscriber, hit subscribe or head to my blog and sign up for my weekly newsletter as well. All right. Thanks so much for watching.